So after The Sound of Music Live premiered on NBC back in December of 2013, Neil Marin and Craig Zadan announced that they were going to be doing a live musical every single year for the Christmas holiday season in early December. And then a couple months after The Sound of Music Live, they announced that Peter Pan was going to be 2014's live musical of choice. Fast forward to after Peter Pan Live, then they announced that The Wiz was going to be 2015's live musical of choice. Fast forward after The Wiz Live, they announced that Hairspray was going to be 2016's live musical of choice. But now, we're less than 3 weeks away from the premiere of Hairspray Live, which is happening on December 7th on NBC, and yet 3 weeks ago, back in October, Neil Marin and Craig Zadan already announced what 2017's live musical is going to be. And get this, they have already announced their leading lady. Yes, welcome back everyone to Great Broadway Fan's YouTube channel. I'm Luke, and today we're going to talk about the development, the announcement, and some potential dream casts for the 5th consecutive live musical on NBC, and that's going to be Bye Bye Birdie Live, with, wait for it, Jennifer Lopez in the leading role of Rosie Alvarez. Now, I have to say, right off the bat, the announcement came completely out of nowhere and pretty much shocked everybody, because normally, like I just explained, they'll wait until after they do one live musical to announce what next year's will be. But they're putting the cart before the horse, because not only is Hairspray still, they're just fine-tuning it and putting it in rehearsals and everything. They're still in rehearsals. But they haven't even seen what the viewing numbers are going to be for Hairspray Live, yet they're already announced early what it's going to be. And Bye Bye Birdie Live with Jennifer Lopez has given me mixed emotions. On the one hand, I think that Bye Bye Birdie is an extremely poor choice to do live on television for a 2017 audience, because Bye Bye Birdie is not the most energetic musical that's ever been written. In all my years of studying musical theater, obsessing over musical theater, I can put musicals into two categories. There are timeless musicals where no matter how many times you produce it, or no matter how many decades pass after its original premiere, it's a timeless story. I mean, just look at musicals like The Wizard of Oz, Meet Me in St. Louis, Singin' in the Rain, Gigi, pretty much anything in the Rodgers and Hammerstein catalog, all of the Disney animated movies. These musicals stand the test of time. But then, on the other hand, you have musicals that are products of their time, that they're stuck in the era in which they were written, and they don't age well. Musicals like Follies, Rent, Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Xanadu. I was thinking for another reference, and in this case, Bye Bye Birdie. Bye Bye Birdie was written to be a satire of the 1950s. It was supposed to poke fun at that white picket fence, all-American family, and teenage girls that are going crazy over a rock star who sings rock and roll and shakes his hips on television and wears leather. That was the joke. Conrad Birdie is basically a fictionalized version of Elvis Presley, and that's what the whole musical is about. It's poking fun at that genre, and it's very rooted in the 50s. And I recently was in a production of Bye Bye Birdie. It was the last musical I did in high school. And when we were in rehearsals, we weren't laughing with the show's jokes. We were laughing at the show. Because us 21st century teenagers putting on a really outdated old chestnut musical, a lot of the jokes fell flat. A lot of the jokes were dated. The songs, especially the Ed Sullivan Show, is no longer relevant. But I will say that rewatching the original film with Dick Van Dyke and Janet Leigh, that film version definitely is a little bit better, in my opinion, than the stage musical. And I said I had mixed feelings, but here's the positive feeling about Bye Bye Birdie Live. That's Jennifer Lopez. I mean, I don't think that there's another actress working in Hollywood today with Hispanic background who has the vocal chops and the sheer star power to be able to not only carry a role like Rosie, but carry a live musical on television. I mean, you know that people are going to be watching and tuning into Bye Bye Birdie Live for Jennifer Lopez alone. I mean, you could slap her name on a poster, just her name alone, and you could completely get people to tune in. So that's what I have hope for. Now, for the rest of this video, I'm basically going to put my 2 cents in and give some potential dream casts for some other characters that are going to be featured in this musical. And I have 5 characters that I've dream casted for, and I have multiples for the first 3, and then the last 2, I just have a pair that I want to put together. That would be perfect. So I'm basically going to dreamcast Albert, his mother, Mrs. Peterson, Conrad, Mr. and Mrs. McAfee, and then we'll talk about Kim towards the middle of this video. But let's get started, and I have my list right over here. All right. So basically, for the first 3, for Albert, Mrs. Peterson, and Conrad, I have 5 actors and actresses, and each also of the 5, there's a wild card pick, which is like the craziest out there dream cast I could pick. And I basically ranked them in order of how realistic I think that the casting could happen. So my number 1 draft pick for Albert is Zachary Levi. I think that he would be perfect for that part. Absolutely fantastic. He is a star of television, movies, and Broadway. He starred in First Date the Musical back in 2013. He was back on Broadway earlier this year in Roundabout She Loves Me, where he received his first Tony nomination. So he is a Tony-nominated actor. And I think that Zachary Levi's goofiness paired with Jennifer Lopez would work really, really well together. And that's why he's my number 1 pick. My second, Matthew Morrison. I think that Matt Morrison needs to do another musical again. He has been on Broadway. He was in Hairspray. He played Link Larkin. He played the lieutenant in South Pacific for the Lincoln Center revival. He was just on Broadway in Finding Neverland. He, of course, was in Glee. But I think that having him come back to do not only television, but another musical would be pretty great. And once again, like Zachary Levi, I think that his chemistry with J-Lo could really, really work well. Number 3 is Justin Timberlake. Now, Justin Timberlake has never done a Broadway musical, but he does have so much vocal talent. I mean, the man has sold so many records worldwide. He's absolutely a fantastic singer. He's a great actor. And I cannot stop listening to Can't Stop the Feeling from his new movie, Trolls. I just reviewed that movie. I'll include a link in the video description to that. It's on my GreatBroadwayFan channel. But Justin Timberlake seems like the kind of person, even though he is a big star, I think that having him do a live musical on television could be really fantastic, because NBC's doing something very interesting with their casting. They're getting big names who have done movies and television and mixing them with people who have done movies and maybe some television and Broadway. So there's lots of theater, TV, music, movie talent all coming together at once for live musicals. Just look at what they did with The Wiz Live last year and what they're doing with Hairspray this year. All kinds of talent rubbing shoulders together. Number 4 for Albert Peterson is James Corden. Now, I know that he's British, and I would wonder if he could play this part, would he be able to pull off an American accent? That would be something interesting. But he is so talented. He has a Tony Award. He was in Into the Woods, where he played the baker. He, of course, has his Late Late Show, where he's doing phenomenal. And, of course, the thing that's most popular to come out of his Late Late Show is Carpool Karaoke, where, interestingly enough, he did a Carpool Karaoke episode with Jennifer Lopez. So they already have a good rapport with each other. And I think that once again, her star power, his star power, and his goofy and quirkiness would work so well together on screen. And then finally, Harry Connick Jr. is number 5. Excuse me. I put him at number 5 because he's a little bit older than the part is written for. I mean, Albert is supposed to be played by someone in their mid to late 30s, and obviously Harry Connick Jr. is in his 40s. But I think that he's so talented as an actor. He was on Broadway in The Pajama Game opposite Kelly O'Hara. He was in On a Clear Day You Can See Forever opposite Jessie Mueller. That made a star out of her. And he also has a great relationship with Jennifer Lopez because they were judges together on American Idol when the show was in its last couple of seasons. It was him, J-Lo, and Keith Urban, all three together for a couple of years until the show concluded. And I think that if you pair the two of them together, I think that their chemistry would be really, really fantastic. Now, the wild card that I promised for this category, which is completely out of nowhere, like this could never happen, but at least I just wanted to say it, I'd love to see Jake Gyllenhaal play Albert. Because Jake Gyllenhaal, even though he's like a big movie star, he really is a fantastic singer. I mean, he was originally considered to play Cinderella's prince in Into the Woods, but he had to drop out of the project to do another movie. But he did Little Shop of Horrors for Encore's Theater last year, opposite Ellen Greene, who was the original Audrey. He was then just in Sunday in the Park with George, opposite Annaleigh Ashford. So I think it's time for him to both do a Broadway musical on stage, but I think that this would be a great step towards that goal. I think that having Jake Gyllenhaal on television in a musical, even though he is a huge A-lister movie star, I think it would be a really, really good career move. In my opinion. Just putting it out there. So next up, Mrs. Peterson. This is a role that doesn't require any singing, but lots and lots of comedy. I mean, she basically is extremely racist towards the character of Rosie, which is very, very unfortunate. She just does not like the fact that she is Hispanic at all. And also, I think that it is really good for the first time on film, we're actually getting a ethnically correct casting for the character of Rosie, because both Janet Leigh and Vanessa Williams, who played Rosie in both film adaptations, are not Hispanic. So I think that Jennifer Lopez, the casting is perfect. I'm just stunned by that. But back to Mrs. Peterson. So my number 1 pick is Kathy Bates. I love Kathy Bates. I have loved her for so many years. I grew up on an endless loop watching the TV movie version of Annie, where she played Miss Hannigan, and she was incredible. I recently just watched Misery for the first time, the movie that won her Oscar. Absolutely fantastic in that part. She's cutting her teeth in American Horror Story. And I think that her as Mrs. Peterson, coming back to the world of musical theater, this should be a great part for her. I really do think so. Another theater and television actress who I'd love to see come for this part, number 2, is Debra Monk. Debra Monk has a Tony Award. Debra Monk has done musicals, a couple of musicals. Last time she was on Broadway in a musical, it was Curtains, which was a great, great part for her. And I would love to see her in that big fur coat, just cutting her teeth on this great comedic, like really obnoxious character. I love Debra Monk. I think that she's absolutely amazing. Okay, number 3 is Patti LuPone. I know that Patti is a huge Broadway, diva. She's like, look up diva in the dictionary and you'll find a picture of Patti LuPone in there. But I would love to see her play Mrs. Peterson. It would be so interesting because she played Mama Rose in Gypsy and won her second Tony for it. So it would be great to see her play a different mother in another classic musical. And I know that there's no singing, but Patti, oh my gosh, I would love to see Patti just play that. Oh, that character would be so perfect for Patti LuPone. Really, really, really perfect. Number 4 is Andrea Martin. Now, Andrea Martin is actually going to be in Hairspray Live this coming December. She's going to be playing Mrs. Pingleton, Penny's mother, played by Ariana Grande. a role that Jackie Hoffman played in the original Broadway production, and Allison Janney played in the movie adaptation of the stage musical. So here's my theory. If Andrea Martin does really, really well in this part, and I know that she will because she's such a great comedic actress, I think that she would be perfect to come back 2 years in a row to play Mrs. Peterson. I think it would absolutely be perfect. I really, really, truly do. And finally, number 5 is Jackie Hoffman. Now, Jackie Hoffman is so funny. She another wonderful musical theater actress, so funny. She was recently in On the Town, where she played the ballet teacher. That was a great part. She recently played Winifred in Once Upon a Mattress regionally out of New York City, and she was amazing in that. And Jackie Hoffman, I love her on Twitter. She's so freaking funny. So funny. And my wild card pick, once again, probably would never happen, but I would love to see Bernadette Peters play this part. I know that that's crazy. It's such a departure from anything Bernadette Peters has ever done, but I would love to see Bernadette Peters play Mrs. Peterson. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Okay, now here's what I'm thinking about for the role of Kim MacAfee. Why don't you hold an open call audition across the nation for Kim MacAfee? Cast a girl in between 15 and 17, depending upon height and how she looks, how young she looks, because Kim is supposed to be 15 or 16. But here's what I'm thinking. You should cast the role of Conrad Birdie first, and then hold the open call audition for Kim MacAfee. And I have 6 actors who would be fantastic for Conrad, and I think that every girl in America would be lining up to audition to be able to at least be on the same stage with any of these 5 actors that I have picked for Conrad. So my number 1 draft pick is Nick Jonas. I think he's so fantastic as a singer and as an actor. I would love to see him return to the world of musical theater, because he was actually on Broadway. Can you believe that? He was on Broadway when he was a child. He played Chip when Beauty and the Beast was on Broadway so many years ago. And obviously he went on to be in the Jonas Brothers, and then their show ended, and now he is off doing his own thing. He's been in movies, on TV. He's absolutely a fantastic actor. And I think that if you casted him, you could get every teenage girl in America lining up to audition to play Kim. I really, really think that. Also, my number 2 pick is Darren Criss. Someone who also has Broadway and Hollywood talent and amazing vocals. He's a great singer. He's a great actor. He, like Matthew Morrison, he was on Glee. He's been on Broadway in How to Succeed in Business and Hedwig and the Angry Inch. He's just finishing that tour. He's going on tour, and I would love, love, love to see him play Conrad Birdie. He's a little on the short side, but I think it could work really, really well. Number 3, this is an interesting one. I wanted to include this one, and that's Jordan Fischer. I think that Jordan Fischer would be great, because not only would because I always admire it when because Broadway, I think, is more diverse than Hollywood in putting colored talent, people of multiple ethnicities and multiple skin colors, and people of all different ethnic backgrounds in main centered roles. I think, just look at Hamilton right now. Hamilton is a completely colorblind casted musical. You could easily cast all white people in Hamilton to reflect what America looked like back in the 1800s, but they don't. And Jordan Fischer was cast as, I believe it was Duty in Grease Live just earlier this year for Fox, and he was incredible. One of the most recognized cast members to come out of Grease Live, actually. And I would love, and he's good with the guitar, great with his songs. He's currently on Broadway in Hamilton, actually, right now. And I would love to see him play Conrad Birdie. I think it would be absolutely, absolutely fantastic. Number 4 James Maslow. Now, if you don't know who he is, maybe this will be a quick refresher. He was in that Nickelodeon TV show about a boy band called Big Time Rush, and they actually did tour around the country. That they've since broken up and all gone their separate ways. Carlos Penavega was just on Grease Live. James Maslow was on Dancing with the Stars a couple years ago, and he got 4th place. He's an incredible singer. He's a great actor. And I think that he would be fantastic as Conrad Birdie, too. And number 5 on this list is Garrett Clayton. Now, Garrett Clayton is going to be Link Larkin in Hairspray Live this year. And if he does a good enough job, maybe he could be brought back to play Conrad Birdie. He's a little young and, like Darren Criss, a little on the short side. But I think that he has the look and the huge fan base to bring people in to watch it. Because I think that if you had 3 huge stars in the roles of, obviously J-Lo's playing Rosie, if you had 2 more huge stars in the role of Albert and Conrad, then that's pretty much all you need to get middle America to tune in. The musical theater community will already be tuning in. You need to get middle America to sit in on this live event. Oh, and my wild card for Conrad, Aaron Tveit. I know, he's in his 30s, but he did play Danny Zuko in Grease Live, and that was a teenager role, and that was pretty fantastic. So now finally, the last 2 characters that I want to Dreamcast for are Mr. McAfee and Mrs. McAfee. And it's one pair, and I can't believe it was staring at me in front of the face. And when I saw them on television together, I was like, this is it. This pair has to come together to play Mr. and Mrs. McAfee. And that's Stephen Colbert and Laura Benanti. Because they had this running sketch going where Laura Benanti was playing Melania Trump on Stephen Colbert's television show, and it was absolutely fantastic. Her characterization was hysterical. His chemistry with her, just talking in interviews, was hilarious. I would love to see the 2 of them together as a pair doing this show. So, thank you, everybody. That is my full Dreamcast for Bye Bye Birdie Live, which is set for December 2017. No word yet on the actual premiere day, but I'm assuming that after Hairspray Live premieres on December 7th, we will be getting not only a premiere date, but also multiple casting announcements for all of the characters. So thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you are not already subscribed. You can follow me on social media, on Instagram, @GreatBroadwayFan. My Twitter is @GreatBWayFan. Please go support and subscribe to my other YouTube channel, Great Movie Fan. I'll include all the links in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.